Hello guys, this is Surajit Basak and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is our fourth chapter of PHP REST API with React. In our previous chapter, we created our database connection with database class using PDO object. For this tutorial, we need to use Postman to handle our request for our PHP REST API. So going back to our browser and search for Postman. And now we can see the first result as getpostman.com. Click to this link and download the app. Postman is already installed on my machine, so I'm not going to download it again. So let me open Postman. Now let's go to index page, and in which I'm going to define some headers because we will be creating some global API so that other origin of request can be allowed, so that we have to mention some headers and enable cross-origin resource sharing. So call header function and pass access dash control dash allow dash origin colon star, which we set to all because in this case we are just want to accept any sort of request from anywhere. Then second header will be access minus control minus allow minus methods colon post get delete put. So basically we are specifying all the methods on the type of request which we can handle through this route. So basically we are allowing this PHP file to handle all sort of requests, so that's why we are specifying that line in there. So now let me quickly show how we can check whatever the method we are dealing. So for that I'm going to create a method variable, and which will simply reference to the $_server with request method index. Now if I save and echo this out with $method, then if I go to Postman, and here in this series I will be heavily using Postman until we get to the React project. So currently it is https://php_REST_API.dev, and if I go here, it's a get method that automatically found out which method we are dealing. Now if I go and select post request, then send it again, we are getting post method. Now if I go ahead and check for other methods, like we can go for the put request and send it again, we are getting put over here. So in this way we are able to map requests whatever that request we are using. So let me quickly comment this line, and then I'm going to create some more. So now we need to grab the URL and get what type of URL which we are dealing with. So for that I'm going to create a variable that is $request_URI reference to $_server with request_URI index. Now let's go and echo this out with what we are dealing with. Now going back to Postman, if I send it, we are getting this route here. Now if I go ahead, write something else like posts, and if I send this again, we are getting this here. So this is basically giving a URL of that file. So in this way we can get the requested URL. Now I'm going to create one more variable that is $URL equal to rtrim, then opening and closing parenthesis, then a semicolon, and inside the parenthesis I'm writing request_URI as a first argument and a single / as a last argument. This rtrim method trims last delimiter from a string. And if I echo out $URL, now quickly see what we are getting. We are getting this thing. Now if I put a slash over here, then again we are getting this thing. So this is basically method we are getting the URL. Now if I go ahead and write another inbuilt function, that is filter underscore var semicolon, then put URL variable as a first parameter, and second parameter would be filter underscore sanitize underscore URL, which is a constant, and it will remove all illegal URL characters from a string. So now if I go to the Postman and just quickly send previous request, so in this page we might not get any changes, but it is basically filtering our URL as well as removing our last forward slash over here. So now we need to get the parameters from the URL. So for that we can simply write explode function to explode the string by a forward slash, and for that we need to pass two parameters. First one would be a forward slash inside a quotation mark, and a second parameter would be URL like this. So now if I print out this URL with printer function and go back to Postman and make this send request, it shows us an array. At first position we are getting nothing. The second parameter we are getting this part. So if I go ahead and write something else like users, and if I send it again, now we are getting users also. So basically this line of code is exploding that string and converts it into an array, and in which that delimiter is a forward slash. So I am going to quickly comment this line out. If we are making any request with this post, I want to reference it with post table, which we just created in the database earlier. So in order to do that, I am going to create a table name variable. Then we need to use a ternary operator to check if URL with second position is not an empty. Then we will typecast that string part in a string format, or else we will reference this variable as null. I am just using this typecast because this thing will format it into a string. Now going back to Postman, and I also want to append this API here, because before making this request I want to just go and append this. Now if I go ahead and echo this table over here, so for that I can simply use printer $table name, and if I go ahead and send this thing out, we are getting post over here. Now let me comment this out. So in this way we can simply get the table name. Now we are also checking for if there is any ID for this post table. So for this one I will just want to get the post from the database which has the ID 1, and if I pass 5 here, we can simply get the fifth post from the database. So to do that, we are just going to use a ternary operator to check if URL at third position is not equal to null. Then we are simply going to convert it into an ID, and it will be an integer type. So I am going to quickly typecast that thing into an integer $URL, because by default it will be converted into a string after exploding into a string part. So in this way we have already dealt with the requested routes. So now we are just going to check what type of tables we have in our database. So to do that, I am just going to create a variable very quickly. So go to the line above the first created URL variable, then $tables, and this will be an array in which we will be having our tables. So apparently we have posts table in this database. So I am going to quickly check that out whether the table name exists in this table. So to do that, we can simply check. We have a function called inArray method, and it accepts two parameters. First one is the value to be checked in that array, so that value is in our table name, and second parameter is the array from in which we are checking, and if it is true, then I want to echo out whatever we are getting. So inside the if block, I am commenting here, that is include that API root. And echo out table does exist. And inside the else block, we are just simply echo out table does not exist. So if I go ahead and send this thing, we are getting table does exist. And if I change this thing to user or something else, table does not exist, because that table is only we have is posts, not users. So we are getting as the message. In our next tutorial, we will work with our posts file. So guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe my channel for upcoming video tutorials.